Hello and welcome. Today we're talking field personnel, and we've invited Amplifon to share a couple of practical hints and tips to engage and keep this group of employees. We'll also look at some new research related to field personnel that we just dropped here at Top Employers Institute around blue-collar workers, or whatever you want to call them, that you can also use to improve for your people. So today with us, we have three people from Amplifon. If you are based in the US, you might know them as Miracle Ear, and chances are that a couple of you might be using their hearing aids, who knows? So a big welcome to Rachel Frost. You are a Senior Talent Development Specialist. We also have Jaya Chopra, Associate Director, Talent Development, Culture and Inclusion. And we have Silvana Iseni, Senior VP HR. So you're here to explain a bit about how you organized your initiative called My Development Week. And to those who've joined us today, there will be plenty of questions that you can ask, and there will be a little bit of a session towards the end as well. And we will also be in the chat answering your questions or comments, etc. So Silvana, maybe I can start by looking at you. And I'm going to start with a bit of a depressing numbers, which is that our research shows that around 70% of blue-collar workers say their job doesn't align with their long-term career goals. And if we give that number a bit of a positive twist, then what you've guys done with My Development Week, it kind of helps your people see a future for themselves beyond their current role. So I guess my first question is, how did you get your field personnel so excited? And I've also seen how high your people rated this initiative. So we are very curious to learn more. And yeah, the floor is yours.
I think Silvana is muted.
Oh, sorry. I clicked and then re-clicked. Hello, everyone. Sorry for this small technical hiccup. Thank you, Rebecca. And I would say that I liked this approach of starting from the data, but then looking immediately at what we can do and how we can do it in a positive approach. So as you can see from this map, when we speak about Amplifon Americas, we are looking at quite a big territory from Canada all the way down until Chile and Argentina. So one of our biggest challenges when receiving our feedback from our employees around their desire for development and growth was, what can we propose? Something that can be meaningful, relevant, and actionable in such a huge territory with so many differences and diverse needs and diverse requests. And on top of that, to a diverse population, because we have, at least in this territory, 2,500 employees, a little bit more than 500 are in back office and 2,000 are in the stores, typically in small units, in small stores. So where it's very difficult to design career journeys that are exactly the same automatic path for everyone. So I'm here today with my talent development team because we met as a team and we discussed how can we listen to the feedback of our employees and what we can propose them. And we started literally with a brainstorming, thinking about what could be something really simple, because we didn't even have so many resources available, and what can be something that could speak to everyone and every single employee. And the other point in our brainstorming was, how can we implement something that is agile? because it's much easier to engage the back office employees. We can engage them in virtual interactions in a certain moment of time, while for the front office employees, if they are engaged in store with a client, they cannot so easily disconnect. So we started thinking, and this is, let's say, the result of our brainstorming is the My Development Week. So first of all, we branded it as My Development Week because we wanted to pass the message that everyone should find something and look for something that is relevant for themselves and not a compulsory list of topics that you need to see and attend one after the other.
Yeah.
Development because we tackled all the topics that were in the list of feedback and conversation that we had with our employees. So we covered a series of different aspects related to development, in some cases enablers to development, such as building self-confidence or managing your time or reflecting on who are your allies around the table. And then week, because as I said, in order to engage a wide and different population, we thought that just thinking to a single moment, it would have been more difficult, while having a full week, we could have distributed all the initiatives. And we started small because we could have also thought of a month, then with the creativity of the team that finally came up with 22 virtual sessions that had different topics, but also different way to engage our employees throughout the conversation. And again, the additional topic is that all these virtual sessions have been recorded, maybe except for one, for, let's say, reasons of having an external speaker. And so we didn't want to have all of these recorded. But again, all the recordings are now uploaded and available on our learning management systems. And we are now engaging some of the front office employees that couldn't attend during the live sessions, but still the content is absolutely available and at reach.
Perfect.
Rachel, maybe you can
Yeah.
on and share a little bit the contents and the way we structured the program.
I
Yeah.
can jump into. Do you want me to, Rachel? Or?
Yeah, go for it. I was just going to mention, though, too, that we didn't intend for it to be this big for our first year offering this. I think we first talked about it with 10 sessions for the week. That was the last I heard. And then next thing I know, Jaya and Silvana have added more topics. And Jaya said, everyone we asked about our topics said that they would love to share. And so now we have 22, which I thought, oh my gosh, that's 22 prep sessions as well. But it spoke to the enthusiasm that was gaining and the fact that we could reach so many more people across the regions, across the functions by making them virtual. So I'll turn it over to you, Jaya.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I can still hear the excitement and enthusiasm from both Silvana and Rachel, which just speaks to why this was a huge success. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those who are joining from different parts of the world. As Silvana and Rachel talked about, what is my development week? We really anchored into three main anchors or three main pillars. One is the intention. Going into when we were thinking of developing and curating our my development week, we absolutely knew that we had to engage our front office workers or field management. So the intention was there from the very beginning. We were also very intentional about our topics. I think Ivana shared earlier about the topics were really relevant, meaningful, not just for our corporate function employees, but also for our field management employees. And so basically, there was something for everyone to look forward to. And third,
the speakers themselves. We were very intentional about selecting our speakers from very diversified background. We had speakers who's been with us for 30 some years. We had speakers who had just started with Amplifon. We had speakers who has worked in a store before and have transitioned to a corporate function role. We have speakers who are actually front office managers. So there was like a really diversified background of our speakers, as well as career levels. We did not select just our senior leadership team. It was definitely all over the career levels as well. So first one was the intention. Second, I'm going to talk a little bit about the access. When we think of access, we definitely, again, in our mind, we wanted to make sure that our field employees had the flexibility to select the options that they can attend and join us. So for most of our sessions, as Silvana mentioned earlier, we did provide two sessions, two options, whether they can join option one or option two. We also provided flexibility in terms of recording that is now available in our learning management system, and it's available to our employees on demand. And lastly, but most importantly, empowerment. We really went above and beyond, I would say, to empower our people leaders, including our field management. Um, One of a really good example that comes to my mind is our call center supervisor, who has a really big team of call center employees. She took the time to curate a very well distribution of her employees based on a survey she conducted with her team. And based on their responses and feedback, she selected the topics that they were interested in joining, and she made sure she had coverage, but at the same time, her team was able to engage in this development opportunity. So that was a perfect example of how we empower our people leaders. So again, to wrap up, right, the slide, it is all about intention, access, and empowerment. And with
Absolutely.
that, we landed with the 22 sessions covering from employee well-being to career development, AI for workplace, positive workplace culture, and many more.
Absolutely. And I think everyone can agree that it's one thing to have a good idea, and then it's a whole nother thing to execute on it well. So excitement was building, and we knew we needed to have the result that we wanted with this. So we worked really closely with our communications team, and they built some great graphics for us, helped us with internal campaigns to really gain the buy-in that we needed from leadership to middle management on down for this. And that was really important. We also made registration for these sessions easy with hyperlinks to our learning management system. And those could be copied and shared in many different atmospheres. And so that making it easy was a huge part of this success. I think people could just join day of when they heard, oh, the session is happening, I want to join. And then a huge part of the success was just the talent that we activated. Like Jaya and Silvana have already mentioned, we had 10 external speakers. These were subject matter experts. A lot of them were personal connections of the three of us, but they're experts in their field, and they really brought a lot of richness to the topics. But then the most exciting part was the 59 internal speakers that we activated that were either subject matter experts or panelists, again, from all levels of the organization, from all different countries, different business units. And that created this excitement among teams when they knew someone from their team or their business unit was going to be speaking. Then others came to support them, and so that was awesome to see. And I was talking to Rebecca. We were talking to Rebecca a few weeks ago that there was a moment Jaya and I had before we launched this where we'd done the prep sessions, we'd organized it all, and there was a little moment of panic that what if nobody comes, right? Because that's always the fear. You put a lot of work in this, and then you really hope that it hits the mark you want it to hit. So we celebrated when those registrations started coming in, and we hit 20 people per session average. We were like, yes, okay, good. Some people will come. And then we hit 30. And then what was really neat to see was midweek, we saw the registrations jump to where we got an average of 55 attendees per session. And that was super validating because that showed us that people were attending sessions, and then peer-to-peer word of mouth was spreading that this was actually meaningful. This was worth your time to come to. And another fantastic stat, not just to throw a bunch of numbers out at you, but if you're in training and development, you'll know that this was validating for us, that we had a registration to attendance conversion of 77%. So these are optional sessions, right? We're not mandatory. We're not requiring anyone to come. But that's amazing because standard is 35 to 45% for optional training sessions. So when we saw that conversion rate, that was very encouraging for us. And we ended up with 256 unique learners who participated in at least one session, with the vast majority attending 2 or more sessions throughout the week, and thousands of learning hours that added up for that. So that was super encouraging. And then I'm going to turn it over to Silvana to talk about how we bridged the connection, which was mentioned in your top employer research, that meaningful work matters to employees, and so does meaningful training. And the belonging piece and the connection piece is actually what keeps employees engaged.
One of the key secret ingredients of my development week has been definitely engaging our panelists, as we have seen just from the numbers of how many employees were on this side of the screen sharing their stories. But the secret ingredient is literally the storytelling. So people are curious to understand how someone built their journey. They want to get inspired. They want to understand in how many different ways we can get to a successful career that is not necessarily just vertical growth and achieving the top leadership position in an organization. Because again, everyone has a purpose and wants to feed this purpose also through their professional experience. So it is not by chance that the 2 most attended sessions were the ones that we have powerful storytelling. So we had more than 95 people attending the leadership at every level, a women's panel, where we had women from the organization, from back office, front office, management, specialists, literally sharing their story and their challenges and their strategies to face those challenges. And the second session was a day at a store through the front office lens, where people that are working or have been working in the store share their experiences and gave a glance to the people in back office of what is life and what is development in a store. What are the experiences that can develop yourself in a store? And again, all this number and all these statistics are just capturing the number of people that attended those live sessions. Then, as we said, now those sessions are uploaded in our LMS, so other people are accessing to the content, and we are engaging with multiple employees beyond the result of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to call out another really neat thing about a day in the store through the front office lens. And we have snapshots on there of some of our presenters. So not only did we have an area manager who works with employees in the field be our main presenter, but we also had area managers join her from different areas of the country, one from Canada, one from LATAM, who they were able to say similarities and differences in leading their teams in the field. And it just gave a window to the back office staff who that is not customer facing is not their day to day, and yet that's the heart of our business, right? And so that gave us all an education and a storytelling to see all the work we're doing in the back office is to support and um, to see how they empower their customers, and then in turn, it's a feedback loop where it's success drives success. And so that was beautiful to see. And then you see the women on the screen that we had in our women's leadership panel, again, all different ages, all different roles, levels, functions. It was such a beautiful thing. And it has catapulted some more initiatives that we are beginning to roll out at our organization that have been in the works for a long time building up to this. But it just ignited something with the women in our organization wanting more connection and ways to support each other. So that was really cool.
And let me say, Rachel, that this is generating this sense of belonging. So
Yes.
I've been working in HR for more than 20 years, and I think that we have always been participating to conferences, trainings, just to tackle the topic of how do we create a sense of belonging in an organization.
Yes.
And again, the secret ingredient is let's activate people. So
Yes.
let's have them. We cannot impose belonging. We cannot push them to feel that they belong to an organization. But when we start building this bridge and this human connection between the curiosity of an individual and the story of another person, we will see that we belong to the same culture, to the same purpose. And this generates additional energy to find new ideas to further nurture this belonging.
100%.
What comes to my mind as you were just saying that is definitely right. It was so organic. I think it was
Yes.
very organic. It was not something that was like mandatory or just a very organic way for people to connect. And one of the things, at least in the few sessions I was part of, I have heard, oh my God, I have not seen you forever, right? So it also gave people an opportunity to work with their colleagues who they may not have seen for many years. So this was really an opportunity again to bridge that gap between even employees from one functions to another functions, from one business unit to another business unit, from field
Yep.
to our back office. So yeah, it
That's
was
so
definitely
true.
all about bridging that connection.
Absolutely. And then we wanted to just touch on employee impact and feedback. And one really cool thing throughout the week was the feedback we were getting live, like in real time after each session, and from both panelists and people who were leading sessions who felt empowered and pushed out of their comfort zone, because they're not trainers or presenters in different ways, but this was such a great opportunity for them to push themselves outside their comfort zone. So we got a lot of great feedback that way. And then people who were attending that just felt like this was refreshing and energizing and a connecting piece for them across their units. As you know, virtual training can be tricky that way, and hybrid teams, we're always looking for ways to bring people together and to connect better. And then with any great training initiative, it always is great to have that evaluation piece. So we sent out a survey afterwards, and we got just great numbers from that too, both quantitative and qualitative feedback. 98.4% of attendees found the topics relevant and applicable. So we felt like we hit our mark there. And then 100% confirmed presenters were engaging and knowledgeable. And that was super validating. So these high numbers were in conjunction with the fact that people also had constructive criticism to give. I think I saw many comments of like, make your intro shorter next time, or how about this topic? This was something I would like to see in a future My Development Week. So we got some great comments for further making it better, but still having the great numbers that they felt like this one also hit the mark. So that was very encouraging. Just wanted to end our presentation with a couple of lessons learned and transferability. So Jaya, if you want to take this part.
Yeah, and I will keep this really quick because I know we have just few minutes left, and we do have some questions. So
Sure.
some of the do's, right? Like I think we've talked about, keep the content meaningful, relevant, actionable, something for everyone. Make registration simple and accessible. We have a learning management system, so we had all of our registration through that tool. So it was pretty straightforward for user, very user friendly. Promote events early to build excitement and allow schedule planning. We did definitely have multiple different campaigns leading up to the event. And again, the goal, right? The intention is to foster a friendly, inclusive, engaging learning environment.
Perfect. And just some quick don'ts, not to focus on the negative, but don't skip the stakeholder input before and after learning initiatives. That's rich info right there. Don't limit your speaking opportunities to only your senior staff or external experts. See the value of the talent you have in your organization and utilize it. And then don't assume presenters or panelists will be prepared without support. You need to support them, encourage them, do prep sessions, give them everything they need to be successful. And we really think that this is something that any organization can do to increase meaningful, relevant, and actionable training. So I think we'll turn it back over to you, Rebecca.
Very interesting, very interesting. I would say that a lot of the things that we see that you tackled in your approach are echoed in our blue collar research that I mentioned that we dropped a little while ago. And some of the key takeaways from that is that the first one would be from an AI perspective, which, and I know that is something that you also addressed among your themes that you chose. And what we can see is an interesting difference between when you ask people if they see industry benefits, then 73% say that, yes, I do see it from industry. But when they look at themselves and their career, they say, well, about half of them say that they see benefits. And the second part is, of course, pay matters the most, no surprise there. But only 55% feel fairly paid. And something that you also touched upon is the belonging. We could see that 88% value relationships. So these initiatives where you are addressing this, helping leaders, etc., do have a positive impact. The fourth is flexibility, and this is quite an interesting one, which we haven't really touched upon today, but you can see that 64% they value flexibility more than additional pay, but we can also see that 25% don't have any control at all over their scheduling. So there's clearly a mismatch here, right? And then the fifth key takeaway is related to communication. So we can see that 26% say safety measures are inadequate where they work, and 25% don't receive any regular info. And in terms of what leaders can do, it's about looking at the employee experience beyond the kind of standard lens that many companies use of looking foremost at office roles. That's also why it's interesting to see what you did, where you really designed it for your whole workforce. When it comes to making sure that people stay, essential keys would be fairness, connection, career opportunities, and safety. Also taken into account, and we heard some of that from when you guys were speaking now as well, that things that you design for office workers might not necessarily be the right thing for the whole company. So do keep that in mind from the beginning. And also it's a systemic risk. If you want to be competitive, then you need to look at the full picture. So blue collar or field employees, whatever we want to call them again. These are the key takeaways that we could see in the research. And I see that we are almost out of time here. Let's quickly jump to the question we have here from the audience, if any of you want to answer this one. The question is, how do company leaders balance employees' development expectations with the lean company budget?
Oh, as we are in budget phase, I think that I can take it. Yes, definitely budgets are always lean, and it's never enough for all the developmental opportunities that we want to develop. But again, if we look at the side of the opportunity, is that there are many developmental opportunity that don't require the cent. They just require engagement and activating the right people. So, for example, in our company, we activated a lot of formal and informal mentoring, where most experienced leaders support, or simply senior specialists in their role supports other people that are learning or that want to progress in their profession. We are investing a lot on our people leaders because we are convinced that one key for development is the relationship and the dialogue and the support that you get from your people leader. So we are focusing on our people leaders in the back office and in the field to become our chain of transmissions of all the initiatives and all the messages that we want to pass to the organization. And then again, I think the third key is to remember that the development is my development. So it's activating the sense of ownership of the employee that can see opportunities that are not simply the training course, the MBA, or the super expensive certification that I can get in the market. So being creative and leveraging the network, I think can help a lot the companies and leaders to cope with these always limited budgets.
Yeah. I think we're running a little bit out of time here, but I do have one question I wanted to ask, and it's related to AI, because it's one of the things that here at Top Employers Institute we hear a lot from our clients. And coming at that from, if we look at the research again, and we can see that about 3 out of 4 things that it will benefit their industry, but half of them also say it won't benefit my career. So there's obviously a lot of anxiety out there. So I was curious about the AI sessions that you did. How did that help your frontline and colleagues build confidence, like adapting to change, resilience, digital skills, etc.?
Jaya, Rachel, you want to take this one as you were co-facilitating several sessions?
Yeah, I can definitely take this one, and feel free, Rachel and Silvana, to chime in as well. So for us, AI is really about a human-centric approach, right? It's not about one or the other. It's about how do we, like, for example, when I think of AI, it's about it's like my body, right, at work that can help me make my work efficient. So it's not about, so I think one thing we've been really clear, our leaders have been really clear, and it was really reassuring to actually even hear from our panels who did 2 of the AI sessions. One of the leaders in technology, we had some um, panelists from them come to us, and we dedicated one session specifically about back office functions and how they have implemented and rolled out AI in with several different clients. And then one was really specific to our front office. And in both, the panelists were very clear, and it was reassuring to our employees that it is not about one or the other. It is about how do we best use the technology to really make our work efficient so that it alleviates our time from the busy work, right? And we can actually think more about innovation, more about process improvement, more about strategic thinking, critical thinking, and it also gives us more time for development. So it was actually a perfect balance. So we look at it in a holistic way.
Yeah. Well said.
Nice. Okay, that was all for today. Before we go, those of you listening in, please take one moment to give some feedback. What did you think of this webinar, etc.? You can find the link in the comments. Tomorrow, you will also get an email with this recording, and you'll also get the survey link. And of course, a big thank you to all of you from Amplifon, so Rachel, Chaya, and Silvana, for sharing your insights and your experience with My Development Week with us. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon for more conversations as we continue building a better world of work.
Sounds good. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.